Hello, this is Oliver.
And Luce.
Welcome to the 15th episode of Teens Connect. Today we'll be interviewing Aryamani. Can you tell us a bit about yourself?
I was born in Brazil in 1946. And I came to Auroville in 1979. And I have been here since.
What brought you to Orville and how did you hear about it?
You see, since my childhood, my early childhood, I have to say, I was always unsatisfied with everything. Of course, it was not a mental perception. I could see it later on. But this feeling of looking for something else, I have it very early in my life. So later on, when I came in touch with Sri vision, for me was the change of my life. And in Brazil, we lived in a community, which was in Sri inspired and based on Sri. And we started doing translations of a short piece, short extracts from Sri Aurobindo's work in the Mother. We have a review. And this is how it started, no? I was young and looking for something, and then I heard about Auroville, of course. And at the beginning, I was not much attracted by Auroville as such. In fact, when I came to the ashram first. And after a few months in the ashram, I just felt that I needed something more open. Like an ashram, it was beautiful, I have a kind of a very comfortable, but somehow I was missing a more creative space, a more open space. And I have an inner indication that I should come to Auroville. Then I just came.
So what was Orville like when you first came here?
We have fewer people, of course. We have a few hundred people at this time. It was the last years of this conflict between Auroville and the Sri Aurobindo Society, the ashram. So I went through these last years of this conflict. And with my partner at this time, we started a place, transformation, that is now we can say near to transition school. But at this time, transition school was not there, so nothing was there. So we started that as the beginning of the cultural zone, because in fact, we believed in this project. So in fact, we believed in the city. We came here looking for that, how to build the city, how to contribute for that. And we came here, the city was not there. I mean, and so we started doing whatever you could. And I was doing dance classes. So my background is I am a dance teacher, modern dance teacher. And I started giving dance classes everywhere in Auroville. It was amazing. And children in school and adults. And so it brought something, I believe, a bit more creative at the Auroville environment at this time. You have a theater, with a French theater, with a French group. And I was giving dance classes. So it was, I think it was, from one side, it was beautiful. We had the hard times, I mean, the transformation. In the first couple of years, we have nothing. We have no water, no electricity, no gas, nothing. So we were planting and creating the place. That was also a beautiful experience. And so that was the very first years in Auroville.
And how did you get involved with Deepanam?
Yeah. Yeah, I always was interested in education. In fact, my work with the body work and creative work was always turned towards education. It was not for performances or showing or no. For me, it was an education tool. Work with the body, creativity, how to bring that to education into the main field, no, of the educational. How to say in Auroville, no. And you don't at this time we didn't have schools. We have only the kindergarten, the center field, the first kindergarten, and the education was very irregular. We don't have anything like structures. So the structure came slowly with Sayer first, and then they started building transition. So it was a kind of a process that started in the middle 80s. And at a certain point, a small group of French people, they want to create something more, I would say, more experimental, less conventional, and more experimental, in terms of what Mother and Cherubindo described, no? When they speak about education, this kind of experiments, no, on education. And so they start a school called Miramuki School. So this was before the Panama School. So Miramuki School was an amazing experiment. And I was not part of for a certain while, I was giving dance classes or something, but I was following and supporting this project of Miramuki School. But after some years, I believe that they went a bit far in the experiments, and they became kind of close to the rest of Auroville. It became a kind of small experiment, and they cut the connections with the large community of Auroville. So in fact, what started as really incredible open experiment kind of shrink somehow and became very narrow, I would say. They closed the school, they left. They have created this beginning of this campus where we stay now.
So they built
Yeah.
they built the
Yeah,
building.
they left, they abandoned the place. And then a few of us, Joti Care, Eva, myself, and a couple of others that were no more there. Tatiana, that is still there, no? Taking care. we took the place. Said, no, we cannot leave it like this. We have to start something. And then we started working in the school. I mean, to cleaning and doing things. And we finished the auditorium that was not ready. So we finished this auditorium. And we created budget to look for funds. And we started the whole thing to recreate this space. At the same time, opening more, but at the same time keeping a spirit of exploration on education. And so I stayed there for a few years. I was kind of in charge somehow of the school. And my main role there was kind of teaching. I was teaching children and doing theater, creative movements and the theater. We have done a few plays that we created together, the text, and then we explore the text and create things. And then I kept moving. From there, I went to do something else. But Deepanam, I believe, is still always I feel a connection. First, because I believe that they could maintain a certain freedom, a certain creativity, a certain spirit that I appreciate.
Yeah, and it's still sort of like experimental and
Yeah.
trying new stuff out.
Yeah, I feel that it could maintain that along the years, no? And at the same time, they are getting more and more respected because through these experiments, they are creating something that at the same time is experimental, at the same time is they have the results that are somehow convincing, that are appreciated. Like your last play, for example, that was so beautiful. And you can see that there is a work behind, that there is a team behind, that there is a force behind. And this is very much appreciated.
Do you have any special memories from Deepanam that stay with you?
I do. You see, Auroville for me is this, is always trying to create. I think always you have to think about the future. It's something that we sometimes we forget because we do not have answers. What is the future? What you can do that is connect with the future. Then you have the tendency to go somehow backwards and look for answers from the past. And Auroville for me is a field of research towards the future. I mean, this is the thing. And Deepanam for me was that. And you make some mistakes. At a certain point, and in the first years, you want to change everything and do something else, and then it was a chaos, and almost to close the school because the parents kind of panic. But for me, for us, was part of the process of learning and discovering. And we came back to something more balanced. And from that, I believe I have memories of that. I have memories of the kids. The difficulty we have, with discipline, because this environment gives such a freedom that sometimes they were difficult to balance. Discipline and freedom of research, of discovering. And so we have that. So in fact, I have, in the moment that you create the place, the drama, the theater, that we create this creative space. And this for me was always something that touched myself, because it's something that I carry in me. I have that in myself. And for me, it's and always looking for something that is uplifting. For me, the children, they need to be in touch with something that they keep them in touch with the wonderful, with the beauty, with something that is not the ordinary things. If you can keep that, from very early childhood, that you can develop that perspective, that we are here for something wonderful, for something that you don't know, but we are sure that will be one day. To be connected with that future is something that I believe is our aim, in education. Yeah.
Okay. What made you start volunteering at Matrimondir?
You see, when I came here, Matmandir, we have only the basic structure of Matmandir. It was this desert, and this structure in the middle of nowhere. And at that point, it's a reference, It's a reference to us. Matmandir is a reference. You're there. And along my years here in Auroville, I have explored many fields, schools, arts, performances and mainly services, housing service, Nanjini, all the things. And Matmandir was always this kind of background, this kind of call. And I started being involved with Matmandir in the early 2000, that I got really involved. Following, listening to Roger Anger, that was the architect. And so the years where we have some, how to say, divergences between Matmandir, the shape of Matmandir, how it should be. So I was listening to Roger and following his guidances, and listening, going to Matmandir and listening to what he was saying about Matmandir and the drawings of Matmandir, the shape of Matmandir. So for me, it was something really fascinating. There's this story behind Matmandir, what the mother said about Matmandir, and what it represents to us, to Auroville. This idea of having the soul at the center of the city. So the city with a soul. And then we started building the soul. And now we are building the body around the soul. And at a certain point, I started going there and doing things, participating and creating, because Matmandir was evolving, the way of receiving people, the way they were organizing, the structure of Matmandir, So I started participating in that. And then I stay. And I love to be there. For me, it's something that just to be close to Matmandir for me is enough. I can stay months without going to the inner chamber, for example. But to me, being close to Matmandir is something that is, for me, Matmandir is a kind of parallel existence. When I go to Matmandir in the evening, and I'm there, and then it's another world. You feel that is when you see Matmandir, you have the sky, and then you have the moon, and then you have the whatever. No, it is something so out of this world that sometimes you sit there and you just see it, and I cannot be anywhere else. No, I'm working there and feeling that I'm in this atmosphere. I'm there. It's, as long as I can go, I will going.
And what years did you start like working at Deepanam and then what years did you start working at Deepanam?
In which year?
Yeah.
Maybe 2000, 2000. I'm not sure for between 2000 and 2002, which was that moment. I'm not sure now, historically. Yeah. Which was when we started the.
And how do you, because Oroville has changed a lot physically in the past few years, like since the beginning, but how has it changed in other ways for you?
You see, Oli, when I came to Auroville, I was connected with Auroville. And it's interesting to say that when I connect with Auroville, at the same time, I felt a deeply connection with India. At the same time in my life, when I came here, this connection with Auroville and this opening to India, Indian spirituality. And both things kept growing within me. My connection with the Indian spirituality and its belief in the project of Auroville. So the external changes of Auroville, I believe it is it's part of the process. If you look at as humanity develops, as Sri Aurobindo explained very well in the human cycle, we have movements. No? We have lows and highs. No, it's a kind of waves. And Auroville went through so many things, so many moments, but you see only the moment. We don't have the capacity to look beyond. That behind what we are seeing, there is a true Auroville. That's the project of the mother, and this is, nobody can touch that. She said it will be, so it will be. And what is happening, what happened in the past, what is happening now, for me there are moments, historical moments, that we cannot evaluate now. We cannot have an idea what is happening now. We see only appearances. Maybe in 10 years, we can understand what is happening. But right now, we can see only the appearances of the thing. You know? We see what is happening here, some facts, some anecdotes, some stories. But the real Auroville, what it represents to Auroville, what is the meaning of this for Auroville, we have no idea because we don't see. We can see only appearances. This is what I believe. So I keep connected. I can see what is happening, but at the same time, I try to go behind. And going behind and try to be connected what is behind. It's something that I believe. That our Mother's Auroville is going to all that, but it is a real thing.
So what keeps you inspired to stay here after all these years?
It's a kind of an inner certitude that I didn't choose to come. It was not a mental decision. I'm going to Auroville. I was being brought here. The mother brought me here. It was very clear. I have this inner indication that I have to come to Auroville. So we cannot play with that. There is something that is so decisive in your life that nothing else counts. Nothing else. So it's a place where I have to be, where I am, and I believe. And my trust and my complete, what I am, what I believe, my aspiration is always connected with Auroville. Because for me, Auroville is a mother. Auroville is Sri Aurobindo. Auroville is the future. And it really is a future. I mean, if it's not Auroville, what then? You see the world around you. If something like Auroville cannot exist, it means a failure. It's a human failure. So we have to make it exist. We have to make it go ahead. Because it belongs to humanity, as a mother said, humanity as a whole. So Auroville has to succeed. It is meant to succeed. I believe, deeply I believe in that.
I think that's all the questions we have for today. Do you have any questions for us?
How is it for you to be born in Auroville and to live in Auroville? This privilege of being in Auroville, to have the education you have here in Auroville, what is it for you?
I feel like it'll always be a very nostalgic place for me because I've been on, I don't know, I just remember all these little things from when I was so much younger. And so it's quite joyful in a way because I had so much fun on all around Oroville. But sometimes I feel like it's a bit difficult to appreciate all the aspects of Oroville because I don't know anything else.
Yeah, I'm very grateful I got to grow up here because Orville isn't the only place I've lived in. I used to live in France for 1 year, and like I feel like Orville offers you a lot of things that other places don't. Like the school, I feel I'm very grateful that I got to experience education over here because it offers you more things. And I also made my bestest friends here in Orville, and I'm really happy. Yeah.
And I feel like you have communities in other places around the world, but I feel like it's not the same as in Oroville because everyone's quite close, and I feel like I don't know. It's somehow different to other places.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
You see, when you have your age, usually you have a fire. You have a fire. So most young people they have a fire. And the fire sometimes guides us to something that is straightforward. Sometimes it leads us somewhere else. But what for me I can say is, regarding this age, is keep your fire. Don't forget that. Because many people, they forget that this fire, this aspiration that you have for the new things, I mean, the joy of being in Auroville, the joy of being born here, the joy comes from your soul. Not from your mind, it's from your heart, from your soul, from your being. So don't forget that. You see, sometimes life bring us, different places to different contexts, and then you get lost somehow. Don't get lost. I mean, keep your touch. Keep the touch with your soul. Don't forget that. Make any experience you need to without forgetting that. Because you have been born here for some reason. You are here for some reason. All of us. You are here for some reason. So let's keep that.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us, and your time. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure to. I don't believe I would accept to be here if it's not coming from you. I'm not much a kind of a public person, but to be here with you, for me, it was a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.